Thank you so much for being here for the first Bosses of the Valley. I am so excited to have you here. I'm Cherie. I'm the host and creator of the series and podcast. And I'm going to just share a little bit about Bosses of the Valley. So, Bosses of the Valley is about bridging the community with the creators, the business owners, and leaders who inspire us. I started Bosses of the Valley a year ago in our living room, and I had a vision. I knew I wanted to bring together the creators and the visionaries under one roof. So here we are today. I am very proud of myself. And at the time that I started, I only had a professional email. So I had no other social media platforms. I didn't know where I was going to upload the interviews. I just know that I wanted to get started. I knew that I had to make my story very compelling if I wanted someone to say yes. And so once I received my first yes, that pushed me to move forward. And I realized in that moment that all it takes for you is to hear that one yes, or for to truly believe in yourself, your determination, and your vision to move forward. And that's why we are all here today, to hear the authentic journeys of those who inspire us, those who face real struggles, no matter what they're building. And if you watch Bosses of the Valley, then you know that I am all about everything being authentic, the grit, the struggle, the hustle, not the polished stuff, that the final reels that you see online. And so that's why I love what I do with speaking to the business owners. So with that, I would like you to help me welcome to the stage an authentic voice in the community, someone who inspires so many, and I just love her. So please help me welcome Aisha Beasley, our keynote speaker.
All right. Hey guys. My name is Aisha Beasley. I am a local Arizona content creator. I've actually been doing content creation for over a decade. It's so crazy how long my journey has grown and what I've built throughout this entire journey. And for my keynote, I want to talk about owning your voice and building with purpose. A little bit of backstory. Back in 2008, when I was in college, I am a millennial. I had this little digital camera I would take with me when I'd go out with my friends, whether it was to a football game or to like a frat party or what have you. I always had that camera. And I remember how excited I was to get home and to upload that content onto Facebook. Which was, obviously one of like the big platforms back in the day. I really loved capturing those moments, just authentically raw, real. And that really built this excitement for social media. That was my first exposure to it. A few years later, I built a blog. I started on Tumblr and I built a micro following on there back in the early 2010s. I think it was around 20,000 followers, which back then was a lot. And that was kind of the beginning of this whole entire journey. Without the brand deals, without the strategy, without how to go viral, without all these tips and tricks that you're fed with your algorithm, it was that raw, real authenticity, which I think is so important to kind of continue with as you're on your journey. And no matter what it is, whether you want to build a platform or you want to start a business. Um, it for me, it was just for the joy of creating and for sharing, and that's what I want to continue to talk about, and how your voice, your story, and your purpose can carry you further than what you could have ever imagined, and you need to own that voice. For a long time, I thought content creation was just about fitting into what worked, whatever the trends were, whatever was, the thing on TikTok or any of these platforms, and figuring out the formula. I was so big for years on the formula, how to get my videos to get views, how to go viral. But I learned the hard way, especially now that I've transitioned to doing this full time, that that kind of kills the joy and the creativity, and it kind of kills your journey a little bit and the process to love what you're doing. Um, the moments when I was like the most unhappy doing social media is when I was doing things because everybody else was doing them, right? In my niche, I cover a lot of like local places and things to do. So it was always wanting to chase that next thing that just opened. I have to do it because everybody else is going here. I got to get that viral video. I got to have that moment. And for me, it just led to a lot of burnout, exhaustion, and just being just very, I guess, unhappy with what I was just sharing and posting. And I feel like, when you're just doing things for the trend or following what everybody else is doing, you're losing your own voice and your own purpose, and you're just kind of conforming instead of just standing out and being who you truly should be. Um, for me, owning your voice means you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present and real. That's how you create real connections, and that's how you build something that's lasting. And for me, this has been a journey for me, and it's been showing those like messy parts. If when I was still working my full-time job trying to balance this. It was talking about those real things that I do, when sometimes I do like my little Tip Tuesday series on Instagram stories. It's sharing that and being authentic in your voice, and for me, that has built this to lead to a career and has led to something that I've been able to do for over a decade. I wanna talk a little bit about turning challenges into fuel because I'll be honest, like in 2019, I wanted to quit social media altogether. This was before TikTok was popping off and it was a huge thing. I felt growth was impossible. I just moved to Phoenix from Tucson. I'm a native Arizonian, born and raised, but came to Tucson for a job promotion. And I just felt like I just felt like there wasn't any movement on like Instagram, which was kind of the bigger platform back then. This is before Reels. This is before all the viral short form videos, all of that. People really had to find you on those platforms because there really wasn't this huge algorithmic shift that we're seeing on the short form platforms now. And I kind of told myself, maybe this isn't for me. I'm kind of, I have my job. I'm happy with that. I do want to grow with my company. And I was like, maybe it's just not something that could work out. But I decided to keep going. And I think this is something that I always try to share with other content creators that feel stagnant, that feel lost, that feel like they can't grow, is to really keep going and to fill that void with purpose. What is your purpose doing it? What is your why? How can you share things that are authentic and to help people? I feel like when you serve people, you find that purpose and you're not stressed trying to chase the algorithm. Um, so like everybody else, I hopped onto TikTok in 2020. I actually was furloughed from my job, meaning I just wasn't working. Like our store was shut down. I couldn't work for like 3 months, and I started to make TikToks. And back then, I was more of a fashion creator, so I was posting lifestyle photos, all the fun things. And I decided to post a video in front of this like cool 50s diner. This was something I made with my sister while I was like in Tucson visiting. And that was my viral moment in 2020. But a year before, I wanted to quit social media. And that catapulted me into Arizona Places, which is now this headline series for me, and it ultimately changed my life. I'm just shocked, but I'm also forever grateful because it was those moments that me just sharing what I loved and what I believed in, or just those moments, is what got me to that next level. Fast forward to today, I've been creating, like I said, for over a decade, but now what keeps me going isn't creating, it's impact. I think about the footprint I wanna leave, and for me, the footprint I wanna leave is basically, do I want to be someone just posting noise, just posting for attention? Or do I wanna actually leave an impact on people, on businesses, and other creators who wanna get into this space? And that's what keeps me going. Everybody has everybody, there's ebbs and flows with content creation. There's a moment where you're viral, and then maybe a moment where it's just you're just kind of going by. But it's within those moments where you feel like you're not making an impact is where you can make the biggest impact, and you can leave a lasting footprint and continue to inspire people. And for me, like, how I use to elevate my platform is to elevate Black-owned brands and businesses. It's to elevate small businesses like throughout the state of Arizona and beyond. And now, my next venture, which is launching a podcast, which I launched this year called Thriving Loudly, which is to elevate and amplify BIPOC voices and stories. Because when I started this, especially in Arizona and being an Arizona native, there really wasn't a lot of people who looked like me that were doing the things that I was aspiring to do. And that's what building with purpose looks like. Using your influence, not just to grow yourself, but to grow your community. So, empowering others is kind of something that I want to talk about, and some actionable takeaways that you can kind of take from this. Um, so here is what I want you to take away from today. You do not need to wait. You do not need the perfect setup or the perfect camera. I think a lot of people also get in their head about, I have to have the best iPhone. I have to have the best camera equipment. No, just start with what you have. I think when I started, I had like a Samsung S5. Like, this was years ago, like basic phone, basic camera, and you build up from that. You start where you are. You don't wait to be perfect. You just start with what you have going on. And then you also lean into your uniqueness, your quirks, your perspective, your lived experiences. That's your superpower in this. And then also take bold steps. Post that draft, post that video, share your story. Do not wait for the perfect moment and launch that idea. Even when you're scared, especially when you're and it, even when you're scared, and even especially when you are nervous, you should post that content. Your story really doesn't have to be polished or perfect. It just has to be yours. So, now that I'm where I'm at today, I remember that little girl in college with a digital camera, just posting photos for fun and just sharing her life authentically. And she had no idea what was going to be in store for her literally a decade later. But she kept showing up, she kept building her community, and she kept telling her story. So I kind of want to inspire you guys to do the same. And then also, something that I've learned is the world doesn't need another perfect creator. It doesn't need someone who has it all figured out. It just needs your story, your struggles, your wins, and your voice. So, to close this out, just start today, lean into your story, own your voice, and you'll be amazed on how far and the direction and the opportunities that can lead to success.
Thank you so much, Aisha. This is why I love her. But I just wanted to say, keep being you, keep being authentic, your true self, because that is the only thing that no one can take from you. And I really that was such a powerful message. And I hope that you all were inspired by that. So thank you so much. And now we will hear from more powerful voices. So please welcome to the stage our panelists. We have Tony Christensen. He is a content creator and entrepreneur. We have Rosa Harrison. She is the owner of Lush Cafe and Lounge. And we have Petra. She is the owner of the mobile bookstore, Lit Twist. Welcome. All right, welcome. Are you all ready?
Hope so.
All right, so we're going to jump right into our discussion here. And I really wanted to start from the beginning because I truly believe that every story has a beginning. And so with that, I would like to paint a picture for the audience because I truly believe that when we start something, someone out there may be where you were, during that time in that moment. So what was happening in your life before you decided to take the first step?
Um, I had a lot going on. So I have a ad agency too. So I'm not sure if you want me to talk about that more or kind of content
Wherever
creation.
you were.
Yeah, I think a big turning point though, I went to college, graduated, went to Boeing, was at a cubicle, and I hated my life. And I was reading a book and trying to grow and learn more. And there's like a line in it, and it was just like, look to the left and the right of you, and like that older person at your job is going to be you if you don't change what you're
Yep.
doing. And I was like, I got to get out of here. This is terrible.
Stats.
Um, and yeah, my degree was in business, and I didn't really have a. It's a long story, but electrical engineering background and was working with Boeing and like IT kind of with them and hated kind of the job. They were laying off people. It was very brutal. And I was like, I hate this and I need to get out. And I was just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. In college, I had all sorts of things I was doing with TV and film in school and um, a lot of just stuff. I was a TV producer and stuff, young, early days in college, and really just started hearing more about marketing and advertising. And then as I heard about it more, I would come home from working at Boeing and I would just study really late until like 11 midnight at night and really got into advertising and marketing and kind of falling in love with it. And then I really just kind of took the leap, started building kind of a personal brand early on, posting just kind of things I was learning. It was very rough days. I was in a pretty mediocre condo that I was renting, and it looked terrible. The cameras were bad, and like I was just posting content on a different channel, not the one that I'm running now, and just started going. And then built up a personal brand. Had other agencies start to recruit me to work for them. And worked at other agencies and then started my own agency from there and kind of was doing content for ads. Sorry, this is a long answer for
Oh,
everybody.
no, you're good.
I was in Washington. I moved down to Arizona here and then started kind of my own ad agency. Really wanted to do more work. In my ad agency, we do e-commerce ads, so selling physical products online. But I really wanted to help kind of community a bit more. So I started kind of this page Wander Tony more here in Arizona about a year ago, and really just went deep
Oh, wow.
into that direction, and really just like took a rocket ship as much as I could with the content and everything there. But yeah, I've been behind the scenes probably 10 years in advertising now, so I've been in the space a lot, helped clients out a lot of big videos, viral videos and stuff. We would do a lot of strategy for. I'm a big nerd, and really just took the leap, and now it's been a year doing content in Arizona, and it's been
I did not
awesome.
know that you just started
Yeah,
that
it's
a year
crazy.
ago. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Because you have like a good following and everything. And so
yeah.
I would have thought that that was longer, but see, that's why you just have to get started because you never know where you're going to end up.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I was doing, I have an ad page, Tony Does Ads, and it's pretty dead now. My business partner really wants me to revive it because it's our business, which is
right.
good. But I really like just the creativity and helping more local. So it's been really cool to start doing that. And yeah, very early on with that page, I was just lucky. And I'm a nerd with data, like you were talking about virality and stuff. I have friends that have viral like agencies and stuff. So they're really nerds. I bought way too many courses and take notes and just applied a lot of that. So some of my first videos here in Arizona just did really well, really early, and it just kind of catapulted from there. And just yeah, leaned into it a bit more from there. And yeah, it's been just so much fun.
I love that because you just get started. You're a person that just gets started.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Sorry for
Oh, no, you're good.
there.
This is authentic. So, do you need me to say the question again? Sure. So what was happening in your life before you decided to take the leap?
Okay. So I was in corporate America for 17 years, the same organization, 17 years, and loved my job actually. But I realized that I had a lot of skill sets that I was giving to someone else and making like okay money. I was making decent money because, it was a good company. But again, realizing my own talents and the skill sets that I was putting into someone else's business and then knowing that I had passion in other things and I was kind of just existing, kind of made me just say, you know what, let me, there's things I want to do. So I just took the leap. I just woke up one day and was like, think I want to open a restaurant. So it's not always that easy. It's not always that easy. I won't say that, but that is how it happened. And it starts with just knowing your self-worth and knowing what your gifts and talents are. And so that's how I started. And that's where I was. I was kind of in the same thing, like in a little office and just kind of like, I'm really good at this, but there's so much more.
Here's some
Yeah.
similarities between
So much more. Yeah.
Thank you. So for me, I
still have a 9 to 5 that I absolutely love. And we have like a personal development kind of a training. And through that training, I realized that there was things that I wanted to do and that I just hadn't done or thought of before because I thought it was out of my reach. And so I had an idea and I literally was like, I'm gonna do it. And I just did it. Like I mean, it took me a while to get things together, but it was very much like, I want to do this and I'm going to do it. And it took me time to like get the right people in place and get the idea fleshed out to like, what am I going to do? How am I going to do it? Why am I doing it? That level of service and what's important to me and being impactful to the community. But it really was just like I could do that. Now, how am I going to do it? I'm committing to it and just rolling with it and rolling with every single challenge and twist and turn and just recommitting to it.
That's awesome. So we talked about the beginning, where you were, but I do want you to share a little bit with our audience about what was the exact reason or not the exact reason, but what was the exact moment that made you say, I am going to take this leap. I am going to do this.
Yeah, for me, I worked at multiple agencies kind of when I went into advertising and marketing, and I just didn't like how they were running the businesses. And I really took a leap with a random guy. It sounds so crazy. I got a cold email from a guy that was like, "Hey, do you want to start our own agency?" And I was just kind of like, "Yeah, I'm down." Like it was just so like.
We need more Tonys.
Yeah, and it was crazy too because I mean it was a guy from London. Like it's just like even crazier. Like so basically we're like talking on the side hustle, started kind of the agency. I think we were talking for 3 to 4 months every day on like Slack, DMing each other, huddling each other, and finally signed a client. And it's so funny because with Stripe and stuff, when you make new accounts, they just audit everything. So he did all the payment processing, the contract and everything. And then he was like, yeah, there's like an issue with Stripe. They're like asking for the contract and to review it all. And I'm like, I don't know if this guy's lying or not. But then he finally sent the money after it all went through. And I was like, okay, I think I trust him now. And it's crazy. So I was working full-time at an agency, started this on the side with this guy, and it just started growing. And I don't know the time frame. It was probably maybe about 6 to 8 months later. I was making more money on the side hustle job. So I didn't make the leap. I kind of wish I did make the leap earlier, but I was kind of more conservative, more safe with it, and was just like, all right, I'm making enough money here. There's less risk. And then I kind of made that leap and just went full in with that agency at that time. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And what about the community? When you said you wanted to do more with the community, how did you get that going? Because those seem like two different.
Very different. Yeah. So yeah, that's really, I moved down here doing the agency. I did skip. I had a long backstory again. I was like, I'm already answering the first question too long. So I did have a little stint where I was working with Yelp too in Bellevue and in Washington State, and they were kind of, people love and hate Yelp. I'm not here to debate that at all, but they did have a lot of like trying to support local businesses, and I would be the guy that would throw events at local businesses. So I really loved that and that feeling. And when I moved to Arizona, I just really didn't know anyone out here or anything either. And I just wanted to kind of get back into that. So really, yeah, again, it was about a year ago. I was like, I just want to start posting again, I also was wasting way too much money at nice food places. And my brother was like, what the F are you spending a month on food? And I'm like, yeah, I should probably do something with this too and monetize it if I can. And so it really was just like starting that there about a year ago and just loving the creativity of it and having fun and meeting business owners and entrepreneurs and helping people. And then, you'd get DMs from like people visiting town, like, where should I go? And just like that community side too, just helping the tourism and stuff was really cool as well. So that was, yeah, kind of how that all came about. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Oh, okay. I think I remember the question. No, I mean, no, you're not too long.
No, I'm someone that you have to say it every time. So, so the question I was saying that what was the exact moment that made you, say, this is what I want to do. I'm going to put myself out there.
I think for me, it was when I decided to leave corporate America. They actually asked me to stay and created a new position for me to kind of entice me to stay. And then that was just more of a reason. It kind of confirmed just how talented I was. And then I kind of got into another position where I was doing business to business relations, which then kind of was like, oh, okay. Then I'm good at that too. It kind of added on to, like, you know what I mean, just where I could apply it to what my dream was and getting out into the community. Because in the restaurant business and in the lounge and with music and all that kind of stuff, you are interfacing with a lot of other entities. So it was confirmation again. So I was in another position, same company, and I was like, yeah, I can do this. So yeah, so I decided to just go ahead and go do it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So the exact moment, besides my job having this whole personal development thing, I used to get so frustrated going into Target and going into Barnes and Nobles and not finding Black women author books. Like it literally made me so angry. And then I started to do some research because I'm a research girl, so I need to know the statistics and the data. And then once I realized that only 4 out of the entire publishing industry, less than 4% of that output are Black people, I was like, oh yeah, like we're rolling with the lit twist, right? So I knew that as an avid reader, I've been reading since I was a child. I spent so much time in bookstores, and the way that I connected to stories, the representation, it just became super frustrating to not be able to see it in area like very quickly and easily. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, so we have Black-owned bookstores everywhere. And when I got here, I'm like, oh, there's one. And again, when you walk into the stores and you don't see yourself, like that's a glaring issue that I felt at that moment, like I'm gonna solve it. And so from the time that I made that decision, I was attached to a name, I was attached to all the things, and I ended up hiring Riley, who's like my brand manager over there. That's my girl. Couldn't do without her. It was we moved really, really quickly with getting things out the way, because again, I was very firm in what we were going to do. The problem that we're solving is very clear and concise, and how we're going to do it was concise. So it really was like confirmation for me, like out the gate, and then the ability to kind of commit to it. And again, with every roadblock, because I didn't even keep my original name. That's a story for a different day. I couldn't keep my original name, so I had to like find a new one. But I like my new one better than my first one, so it's all good. So it worked out. But it was definitely a constant having to reconfirm and recommit to it because there was a roadblock in every couple of steps forward. There was a roadblock we had to work through.
All right. Thank you. All right, so I want to talk about another topic that I think most people can relate to, but we're going to jump into struggles and lessons. And so I truly believe that everyone faces struggles. I don't know anyone that doesn't. So, every journey that comes with struggles. So, what's one challenge that almost made you quit? Or one mistake that taught you your hardest lesson, and how did you push through that?
Oh, I've had so many. Yeah, I think the biggest, I would say, like the turning point I had. I'll talk about the agency first here because I think this was a big point that changed a lot of how I viewed a lot of things. But it was really, sounds so crazy, but I was speaking in like the middle of nowhere in Ohio for my agency. I was doing business with this guy in London I met. The deal was basically 50-50 split. He's doing sales. I'll run the business, run the ads basically, and do strategy for the clients. And I was at a conference, my first kind of big speaking gig, and so nervous, and like you don't realize because it was my first one. You just don't realize how like draining it can be. You get a lot of people that ask you very technical questions that they want help for their business, and it's a lot. And I had that going on. I had to send out like client write-ups and reports, and I had a client that wasn't happy that wanted to meet, and I just kind of like crashed out on my business partner and on the client, and I was just like, "F all of this" kind of thing. And it was tough because yeah, I pretty much I had the stress of my business partner wanting to keep the client wanting us to give them more sales. Their business wasn't great anyway, and us saying yes to them and working with them. So there's all sorts of learning lessons there, and it was really just like this is not sustainable. And so yeah, it was a big blowout that I had with him. We kind of probably didn't talk for a few days after that. I think the client too was kind of like that. It does sounds terrible, but we're still good friends with the client, which is great now. But we don't work with him still. But anyway, but yeah, ever since that, it was just like I gotta like figure out my energy, and if I'm going to an event, I gotta not work so much on everything else. And
Right.
really, it was just like I gotta hire and figure out what does that even look like. And really, it was just like I was so stressed out from just burning myself out. I know Aisha kind of talked about that with content and stuff too. So that was huge. It was just like I'm crashing out, I'm burning out. I need to hire and figure out how we can take this to the next level and get me more removed from the day to day. So that was probably the biggest roughest moment, but it's gotten a lot better since then. Yeah.
I will add to that really quick. It's funny that you say that because even in the season 1, episode 1, if you haven't seen that on YouTube with lovely Rosa Harrison here, and just like Aisha said, we definitely talk a lot about, hear a lot about the burnout. And so I really appreciate that. It brought me back when we were having that conversation and being able to have people to come in and really help you. So that's really because I'm someone that's hard to do that. Like I don't want anyone to come in and help me do anything. So but it is true, and I think that that's amazing that you can take that time to just realize that and acknowledge it. So it just brought me back to that interview where you talked about that. So
Yeah, you gotta have balance. You gotta have balance. So the question was a moment where you are almost gave up or kind of one of those frustrating moments. Okay, there's a lot of those in entrepreneurship. A lot of them. Yeah, like why? I saw a reel the other day that talked about like being being broke as an entrepreneur is so much different than like when you're a 9 to 5er. Like when you're to your end and a 9 to 5, like at least you know you have a paycheck coming, right? Entrepreneur broke is different.
it's so
When the money out, the money out. You know what I'm saying? So it's different. So like you have to make your own money. You have to figure it out. You can't just say, well, I'll just work a little overtime and then that paycheck will be a little bit bigger, or I just got to make it till Friday. You don't have to make it to Friday. You have to make the business move. And then you're relying on other people to make your business move. So to answer the question, some of my ongoing frustrations and biggest challenges have been employees. Labor is a challenge because it's something about this new age, this new culture. They don't work like us. Like we work, like, you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
40 somethings and up, we work. And so we came from an age where you go to work, you get there on time, you do the job, you earn your paycheck. Well, these people nowadays, they want to show up, do the least amount of work for the maximum amount of money. And then you have to kind of coddle them and, and kind of like, baby them and, oh, what a good job you did your job today. You're right that you're getting paid for that part, right? So, but you have to, because otherwise they're in their feelings and they, then they're like, I'm going to quit, and they will. Yeah. So they just don't show up. They don't. I mean, it's like, yeah, they quit. They quit with no notice. I don't like how she talked to me, or the customer was mean to me, or the music is too loud. Whatever their issues are. But there are so many. We have to adjust as business owners. We have to adjust to so many things, not just the customers.
Right.
Like, so our job as business owners and entrepreneurs is to serve our patrons, to serve whatever audience we've opted to serve, right? And that's cool because that's my job. I chose to be in this business. I chose to be in the service industry. However, now you have to add the challenge of coddling the people that your subordinates. You have to find a way to retain them, but also move and to move your business forward. But you also have to set these fine lines to let them know, hey, there's a line in the sand. Like, you know what I mean? There's still rules and regulations. So for me, finding that balance to let them know, like, listen, I'm a mama bear. You know what I mean? I'm gonna pay you fair. I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna be sweet. That's what I do. But this is my business and I ain't playing about my business. So you can go. You know what I mean? So that's a challenge and it's ongoing. That was a long answer.
No, it's okay. So I'm gonna have you do a quick follow up real quick, and then I'm gonna bring it back to you, Tony. And what I really wanted to know also, just to kind of build up on that, was how do you push through with that? Because I know that especially in the restaurant business, from just past interviews and just knowing, but that's a really tough industry to be in.
It is.
But how do you find, when you at that moment that you do feel like giving up or quitting or whatever it is, how do you push through?
So I don't know if this is the best answer, but it works. I fade to black. You have to unplug. So that's what I do. I have to unplug and I have to pull away from everything. And of course, you can't always do it in real time, right? So like if I have all these little muffins, all my babies, and they're giving it to me, and I'm just at capacity, and I'm like, ah, okay. I can't necessarily fade to black in the moment, but what I can do is carve out some time where I'm like, okay, I'm not taking any calls. I'm going on D&D. They don't have access to me. No one has access to me. I'm taking a moment for myself and I'm going to decompress. I'm going to unplug from everything and I'm going to do something just for me, whether that's going and getting a massage, whether that's just going to read a book, because I love to read a book, girl. So whatever that looks like, that could just be binge watching a show on Netflix, but whatever it is, you have to disconnect. And that's difficult to do when you have your own business because those are our babies. That's like our child. You know what I mean? So it's hard to unplug from that, but you have to find a way because otherwise you will lose your sanity. There's no way to control people's behaviors, but unfortunately those behaviors control your business. So it's a vicious cycle. So you have to unplug. That's the answer.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So I agree with the two of you guys. Employees. I have an 18-year-old right now, and let me just tell you, very ghetto. Very, very ghetto, like crazy. But I think so. I would like to talk about like maybe two things. One thing before I started my business, was there was constantly something that I had to overcome that I had no idea about. And I think that that's very important because no matter how much you plan, you're still going to get hit with something else. So if we just know that, okay, some shit's gonna come. Okay, I don't know what it is and I don't know where it's gonna come from, but I know it's gonna come and just be ready and able to. I will have to overcome some challenges, but I see my vision as mine as it sits now. So I know that I will get through it and I will overcome it. Attach ourselves to the victory of the challenge, instead of allowing us to kind of stay in that space. And then the second thing is that, we have, as a lit twist, we were so blessed. We were only not even 9 months old. We are still like in infant stages of of our business and our brand. And we had a very huge start, partially thanks to Aisha, because she went viral because of her, girl, and it was great. But I mean, there's everyone who's like wants to be a part of it. And I am a very kind person. I don't consider myself nice because I don't move from the optics. I'm actually truly want to see people win. And I realize that people want to attach themselves to me, and those collaborations are not necessarily aligned. So what I would say is be mindful of who you connect with. Be mindful of who you associate yourself with. Because if you associate yourself with the wrong people, and if they have ill intentions, I tell my son all the time, like, you're guilty by association. Birds of a feather flock together. So if they do some craziness, they're going to assume that you do too. And I will say that was a blind spot for me a bit. And I realized I had to disconnect a bit because I do want to be there for every Black and brown woman. I want to see Black women businesses do well. I want to see the Black small businesses, every kind of business win. And I realized, like, okay, girl, like, they are literally here to suck you dry. They are literally here to use you, use your clout, use what you've already built. And I'm moving from a heart space. So you're also trying to use me. The only thing is you can never use somebody who's giving you something willingly, right? I'm giving it to you. So you can't use me. But I do know that I can be mindful of my discernment and who I allow myself to collaborate. So I will say one of the biggest things is watch the people around you. And when you're on your way up, or even when you're on your way down, make sure you're not dragging people with you down and dragging people with you up, because dragging people either way is going to slow you down. Thank you.
Thank you. And then Tony, I'm just gonna come back and see what the follow-up was just how do you push through or how did you push through in anything with the first business or even the content, creating? How do you
Yeah. Lately it's my answers are so great. Uh, um,
You're doing good.
yeah, yeah. Lately it's cold plunges, as crazy as it sounds. Like I'm not great. My girlfriend knows when I'm stressed and the business is stressed because I'm cleaning up the house more, or at these clothes folded
That's good.
and I'm like, oh, I gotta like figure this out. So I try to get in a cold body of water, and there's just a lot of it forces you to just breathe and relax and be in the moment. There's a bunch of good benefits of like serotonin boosts and stuff for if I'm really stressed, and I immediately feel happier right after. And there's all sorts of cool studies where it lasts for like 4 hours after you do it for like 3 minutes. So I do that. I force it sometimes. I never want to do it. I'm gonna be honest. It never, yeah, feels good. Afterwards feels really good. So when I'm really, really stressed, I'll really do that. Like you guys were saying too, I'll try to take a break if I can, or even if it's just binge watching TV or like trying to remove myself from the business. I'm not great at it either. I definitely rant to my business partner at times, and he gets stressed for it. But we're working on that too. But I think another shift that I try to do a lot more lately is just zooming out. Like I get to do this. Like I get to do this job that I've dreamed about doing for forever. I get to help these brands. I get to pick the brands that I'm helping, and I can say F off if I don't want to work with a brand or they're a mean person or they're not, in a good space to work with us. So I think that's a really big part of it. But yeah, really just being able to zoom out. I get to do this and then seeing what my stress levels are at. And if they're terribly high, yeah, trying to take a break, get in a cold body of water.
Awesome. I'm not ever getting in no cold body of water. So but also thank you. Such great responses. I appreciate it. So I'm going to move to another question that I also feel is very important. And this is part of the struggles and lessons. But if money was ever tight, so whether that moment be you're paying bills or payroll to staff, or just buying the tools that you needed, for content creating, whatever that is, how did you keep going in that season?
Yeah, that's a good one. As well, take a seat, everyone. I feel blessed with the agency model that we have. It's very good because you're getting paid good money. Speaking of the stress though, with ads, some background. We're spending a lot of money for brands. We're spending 50,000 to a million, 2 million a month on ads. So huge spends. It's very clear though if I'm spending that much money, how much money in sales they have. So when it's not good, it's very clear this is not good. So that stress gets really high. But because of the agency, the way we structured it, we get paid up front. Our margins are really good. So, and we work from home. We don't have an office, so we're very lean.
Yeah.
So it's very nice in that regard. I think my earlier days when I was at Boeing and I was trying to get into marketing and advertising, I went to other jobs. I went to other agencies and I had them buy me the conference ticket, the book, the course. So in those days, I definitely was way more broke and struggled financially. And it was just working with what I had and tools I had. My old YouTube videos look terrible. Like I said, it was at a house or a condo from like the 60s. That was just,
Are those videos still up?
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go check them out.
They are, yeah. I think I had some longer hair. It was weird. No mustache. Yeah, it was rough. Like, yeah, but that was, I'm more blessed in that instance for sure. I've definitely had, talking about employees, we've had when you're running a business, like they were saying, and it's your money. When an employee, I had a guy we hired just blatantly lie to me about campaigns for a client. I was like, just make sure you set it up this way. They're very picky. He just was lying to me and like not doing any of that. And then I had to go check, and I was like, oh, he's really just not working. And yeah, so that guy we had to get rid of, and I lost tens of thousands of dollars with that, and that was very stressful and very different. And yeah, it was a lot. I was just like, okay, that's not gonna feel good there, but we move on. Yeah, I feel like I said pretty blessed because of the model that we do charge up front, so it works out pretty nicely. But more of the earlier days were definitely a lot harder, and now it's just growing and trying to figure out margins and hiring more people. We're at I think 9 10 people now. So getting bigger, we have to, like, I almost have to get directors and C-suite people now, and just trying to figure that out now is going to be a fun hurdle, because then it's, looking at who we're paying, and maybe we shouldn't be paying certain people as much as we are. And so we're doing a lot of restructuring now. That's going to be fun to deal with. Next week, we're meeting and going over what that's going to look like. So that'll be a whole nother thing, but
That's awesome.
yeah.
Appreciate it.
Okay, I think I remember.
Yep. So when money was tight,
Yeah.
or if it was tight, or bills or payroll, what did that look like? How did you push through that?
So, so that happens a lot in entrepreneurship in general, but
Yeah.
definitely in the restaurant business, because there are hills and valleys with restaurants. There's seasons, so there's times when you're going to be booming, and then there's times when it's going to be completely out of your hands, and you may have 3 customers, for an entire night, and that's whack, right? So, how I push through is, first of all, having a good support system, and to your point, like having watching who you're connected to. So I have a bestie who's right there, my bestie, my bestie right there. Uh, 30 years, besties. Yeah. So what you do is you connect to the right people, and you have the right people in your circle, and you ask for help. So I'm like you, I don't ask for help. I don't want no help. Because I want things done a certain way.
Yeah.
But when you connect to the right people and you have that support system, what you can do is you can say, okay, listen, labor is out of control. So we gotta trim some fat here, right? So first of all, let me back that up. First and foremost, any business that you start, you have to be able to do what you're paying other people to do. So I can bust a table, I can wash a dish, I can grill some lamb chops, I can do whatever needs to be done to run my own business. So if you can't do it, don't open it, right? That's rule number 1, don't open it. But then number 2, that support system that you have, ask for help. So bestie will come in there. My goddaughter will come in there. They'll be like, okay, let's get it done. We got to clean. We got to do whatever we got to do, because I had to cut some labor down. So you have to know your business. You have to know where your money is going. So and now I'm sure you're going to get to this, but this is one thing, y'all, that is so important. Don't cut corners. Keep your books. Know what you have going in and out, because you're going to have the financial troubles. It's inevitable. That's just what business is, right? But if you're not tracking your money, and you're not watching the ins and the outs, and where your dollars are going and where they're coming from, you're not going to know you're in trouble until you're in trouble. So don't get in trouble unnecessarily. So yeah, that's the support system is what you need to do.
Love it. Thank you.
So again, we're like in the infant stages of business. Okay. So we're like right now in the middle of what the hell is happening. Okay. So yeah, I listen. These feet might be on OnlyFans. Don't judge me. No, but seriously. So we were outside in June. It was like June 17th, and then our AC was like, not today. And it broke. Literally in the middle of this event. We are in a trailer, a 7x14 trailer. That's where our bookstore is. So yeah, I was melting away. And we closed down for the summer. Definitely did not plan to be closed for the summer. Did not realize that our business model was not going to allow us to operate successfully and efficiently and effectively during the summertime. So we are in the middle of me right now rubbing pennies together to get through this season. However, I think in the same breath, it is so important, because now that I know better, I could do better. Like, we're not going to know until we're in it. And so there was no way for me to have fundamentally planned. I had an AC unit. I thought I had all of the things kind of lined out, and I didn't, and then I'm going to say something, because it's been coming on my heart like twice now. Something was mentioned. I was recently went to a leadership class, and I just posted this on Instagram, but there was an activity, and I was chosen to go first. Now, I mean, I know that I look like I'm only 5'4", but in my head, I'm 6'5". And it was virtually impossible for me to do what was asked of me first, because I am 5'4". But your girl was up there like, I'm going to figure it out. And I figured it out, but I did it all wrong. And then the facilitator was like, let her back down. I'm like, what? I did all this work. I got up there, maybe not the way that you wanted me to, but I like killed myself to get it done. And you're gonna tell me to come back down and start over? And then this girl that was 6 foot went first. And then he was like, let her go now. And it was so much easier for me to get to the top. Let me just say. The issue and the lesson there was, I never told you couldn't ask for help. So why didn't you have somebody else go first? That way they could help you and make it easier for you to get to what you need to do. Well, damn. Like, all right, like that you're doing a lot. But I understood. I got up there. But I got up there and it was so much more difficult for me than to look around me and just say, all right, girl, you got longer arms and legs. So let you go up there first, and then I'm just gonna be able to just get up here. And so yeah, the support system is really important. We're thugging it out right now. So I don't have any words of advice besides this is your vision. It was put on your heart for a reason. You doing it is your offering to God Himself. And so if it's on your heart and it was given to you, keep on going, because there's nothing that's going to stop you besides the decision that you've made in your head. And if the decision that you've made is this is going to work, there's no other option besides it working.
Yes, thank you.
May I digress for one moment? Because let me give you this gem, love, okay? Because I've been there. So I don't know if anybody, I don't know if you guys, if you've been to Lush, but last summer I had the same exact, let me just how God works, because God is so good. Let me just tell you, He's so good. I had the same instance happen to me. I was only like 3 months old and AC went completely out. We have 5 units on our building, 5 units, and 3 went down.
Wow.
So in the middle of summer, we're a restaurant. So like, and our capacity is like 220. And so it was either shut down, which is a little bit harder because we're 3 months old. So, and at that time we were like the hype of the city, like, you know what I mean? So everybody wants to come there. So it was like either shut it down and risk, like losing that, that momentum that we had built up, or figure it out. So we had, and talk about ghetto, we had to go and get like these big old, I don't even know what they're called, because there's a place. I learned so many things. There's a place where you bring in these portable AC units, and they have like those weird arms, and you can kind of aim the air. So we had like 3 of those. So I had to put one in the back for the staff. I had to put some in the dining room, and I was like, listen, the band is gonna play on, baby, because I'm not shutting nothing down. Yeah, and we didn't shut down. It was ghetto and I hated it. And it was one of those things where I had to like choose, because I'm a perfectionist. And so I didn't want these big, ugly, blue and white, dirty things, like, and they're loud, and it was just, it was an eyesore. But it was better than shutting down. And the enemy is always going to send an obstacle that is going to try to deter you and make you say like, dang, like, can I really do this? You know what I mean? Because I can't replace 5 AC units. That's ridiculous. They're 20,000 a piece. You know what I'm saying? But that's what the enemy put in front of me. And so, yeah, my God said otherwise. They running right now.
I was thinking of the word pivot. We were back there talking earlier, so
All the
I had to
time,
pivot.
baby. I'm a pivot queen. Yes, I'm gonna always pivot. Yes, and you have to pivot in business. You must pivot, because there's always going to be an obstacle.
Yeah.
So yeah, so keep your head up, baby. Because yeah, and listen, yeah, right.
Be moving.
You back up? Yes.
Yeah, you're gone. Right? You also got employed, and I have not been able to drive this further myself yet. So I mean, I wasn't really gonna be outside too much anyway. But I'm like, well, this is going really bad. But yeah, I'm at this point to me, it's like if it can't get done one way, it's gonna get done another way. That's it. That's it.
Yes, thank you. So this is another important conversation that I think should be had, for me at least. I'm always curious about when I see a content creator or a business owner, their success, the final restaurant. When we drive by, we're coming by and we're trying to enjoy the space. But what was the moment, if you can remember, that you can share with someone that actually made, trying to think how to answer my question. What was the moment that you noticed that actually took your business off? So for you, I know with the restaurant, what was that moment when you said you were 3 months in and, the hype had built up? Was there a post or something you made, a customer, a connection? And then Tony, for you, I am very curious with both, what made your first business sounds very successful. So what was that moment that made it successful? And then for the content creating, because for you to be I think you said a year, and then to me, you have a really great amount of followers. So how did that, happen for you?
Yeah, so sort of the catapult of each business is what you mean, sort of?
Say that one more time.
Like what
Yeah. So
what
just
what
if you
made it
could,
kind of,
yeah.
yeah, I'm trying to think for the agency. The agency, it took so long, like I said. I think it might have been 3 to 6 months where we were just talking, trying to sign our first client. I think our first one, it was, I don't know, hundreds of dollars a month that we were charging. It was nothing. It was super cheap. We really did a lot of research. I worked at other agencies, so I knew other people would charge based on ad spend and how much people were spending. And we just got really lucky and signed a brand that was pretty big, and it was like a 5-figure a month, 5-figure a month deal, and it was kind of that happened, and we kind of had some success with them. And then once you kind of had and I work with a lot of big brands behind the scenes. There's a lot of NDAs, so I can't say a lot, but with the spend that we're having, we have millions of hundreds of millions of billions now of impressions and views and stuff. So we've seen a lot. We do a lot now, and then other brands, we tell them stories of campaigns that we've had, and that we can name the names to them behind the scenes, and they're like, okay, we should work with these guys or whatever. So we signed a big one, and we crushed it for them. It was all of our energy and attention, and it really just kind of catapulted everything. There's ebbs and flows with ads though too, especially COVID, the economy. People don't shop online for certain items when some of our clients, they don't sell essential items. They sell like clothing or something. So it might not do very well if people are hurting financially, or like luxury goods. They're not going to sell as well, or maybe they will depending on the brand. So there's definitely ebbs and flows in seasons, but we now know, like right now we're getting ready for Black Friday. It's huge. Everyone on the team knows we're going to be working a lot around Thanksgiving, and it's just, there's no vacation. Sorry. Like, it's where we make all of our money, and most brands make a lot of their money. So we really now kind of know the seasons of when people really want to start working with agencies, and we try to gear up and be ready for that. And then when we can do that, we expand and hire more and grow. So, that was the first one. I think it was just like a big client. And yeah, and there's things too. My business partner does a lot of social media posts too. He does a lot more on like LinkedIn and Twitter as well. And he just kind of is taken off with certain things. And he rips all of my material and stuff, because I do speaking too. So he'll take everything. I'm kind of jealous because he's like blowing up, and like I'm doing my Wonder Tony stuff, and it's more fun. So I'm like, whatever. But he's blowing up with the business, which is good because it's bringing in the clients. So that helps too. So it's a lot now of just like people see what the campaigns that we've done, the brands that we've worked with, and it's a lot easier now. And I'll get on calls like this, and it'll be like a question that they'll ask me, like, how would you do this? And my response is like the ones here where I talk their ear off, and they're just like, this guy seems like he's pretty good. We should probably work with him. So that helps too.
Detailed.
Yeah, so that was that. The Wander Tony, like the content stuff. Yeah, like I said, I've been doing a lot of content behind the scenes. I'm a big nerd with what to do and things I can say and lean into and whatnot. So I think the first week, one of the videos I posted, I think it did 100,000, 200,000 views in a few days, and did really, really well. So I was just putting out videos, had a few hit pretty early on, and then that just kind of catapulted things as well. I've done, I run advertising, so I do amplify some of the videos that do well. I put money into them. My Wonder Tony, I have made money, but it is very new, and a lot of the advertising agency does help funnel like money that way too. So I'm just kind of putting money behind a lot of it too, to help it kind of grow and to be unavoidable online too. But a lot of it, when I work with speaking, I talk to a lot of people that haven't even ran ads, or they've thought about running ads, and I just tell everyone, like, really post organically, aggressively, and then like amplify what works really well organically. So that's kind of what I would do to grow that page quite a bit more. So I'm posting, more aggressively, see what hits, and then kind of lean into that, maybe amplify that if I want to a bit. So yeah, that's definitely
No, that's
it
great. That's
too.
really good
Yeah.
advice to share. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So my moment was a little more. I think I won't say. I'm going to say organic, for lack of a better term, simply because when I started the restaurant and lounge, it was a lane that was untapped. And so so as soon as we opened, it took off.
Okay.
And so that's just another key piece of advice that I always share. You have to find a lane that is, not traveled, or, less traveled. You know what I mean? So when you start trying to delve into an overly saturated market, like this genius right here, because like I did, you're pretty amazing because like advertising is everywhere, and then
Yeah.
people can do it for free, right? It's super saturated, right? So so that means you're doing something right to have such huge success. And restaurants, same thing. It's a restaurant all over, that on every corner. You can go anywhere, but the concept that I created, it wasn't being done here. So we immediately took off. So the moment where I saw the impact, it was instantaneous. I mean, so that it was that was a blessing. I saw it immediately. And then it kind of changes from there, but it was instant.
So quick follow-up. So before or prior to your launch, and you said it take off, did you guys market in a certain area or a certain way that would have got people to notice, that you guys were coming, or how did they know about you?
Um, Kind of. I did a little bit of marketing. I didn't put a lot of money behind it, which I wish that I could have, but my money was going into building
Okay.
because so I did the actual restaurant itself. I did a complete overhaul. So I had gutted it. So a lot of my dollars went into the work itself. So I didn't have it to put into marketing like I probably should have. So we probably could have did better. But again, I did my research and I knew who my competitors were, and there were zero. So that's where your money is. You have to know your competitors, know your market, know who you're up against, and then you pounce. And so that was
Market research will put you ahead.
market
I agree with
research.
that.
Very necessary.
Well, so for us, Aisha came to the bookstore and she posted, I think it was like a day before we went live, and we saw you on TikTok. I'm like, really? That's amazing. So like, yeah, we're like, we saw you on Arizona Places. So I always shout out Aisha because we definitely could not have done what we've done without her. And then we have a really close connection with Whitney at our AZ family. She's constantly putting us on. We did some news articles with her. I will say that there was a situation where we were going over like trying to find influencers and just trying to make sure who is going to get the message out there. And it was just so bright to see that Aisha was willing to help us, and she saw that we were a small business and she just liked what we were doing. And it was like that connection piece. And in that connection, when she went on to TikTok, you could tell that she actually believed in what we were doing, and people came out. So that's helped. And then we've had that momentum. And I think since then there's like 5 or 6 mobile bookstores in the valley now. So it was dope.
Oh, we appreciate you, Aisha. So now we'll just jump over to our last topic, which is on confidence and connection. So this is a really big one because even when I'm looking on social media, I tend to see people who really want to start something. They have the heart, they have the creativity to put themselves out there, but they have that fear. And so I wanted to know, what advice would you have for someone out there who would like to put themselves out there, no matter what they want to do, a consultant business, content creating, owning a coffee bar, whatever it is. What advice would you give to someone out there to get past that fear and put themselves out there?
That's a great question. I think my journey, I spent, like I said, I've been in advertising for 10 years. Our agency now, I think it's 3 years old. Wonder Tony, 1 year old. I did a lot of conferences, a lot of courses, and I would buy and study, like I was talking about when I was at Boeing, way too much. And I didn't apply anything. I just kept learning. And I was like, I got to learn how to do everything perfectly. And I think like the biggest thing looking back and what I try to apply now is just like, just do it. Just do it, struggle through it. Like you were both saying, like you're going to have problems. They're really just guaranteed. So it's like you could prep, but like you don't know the AC is going to go out, or like your employee's going to lie to you, or whatever it's going to happen, right? Like you can't prep and plan for everything anyway. So I think the biggest thing is just go for it and do it. there's stuff too, like there's safe ways you can do things too. Like, there's different journeys and paths. I know people that have done agencies in all sorts of different ways and creators in all sorts of different ways. And I think there's multiple different pathways too. And I think you don't have to see someone's doing it this way. You have to go that way too. You can definitely do it your own way. Like I said, I was kind of more like, I'm going to start the side hustle. It grew. It was making the same money or more on the side. I was like, it's easy for me now to jump, but I know other people that they just stopped their other job and just went full in, and they're probably farther ahead than I am now. So like, I kind of regret doing that, maybe looking back, but I think that's another thing just to know is like, you don't have to do it the way that everyone else is doing it, or you hear everyone doing it. There's so many weird, unique paths. If you talk to successful entrepreneurs, that they get to some place, and there's a lot of failure through everything. So just know that's the main guarantee is you're going to have obstacles and failures, and you're just going to have to, just pull up your bootstraps and keep kind of pushing along. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. So, all right, get your pens ready, y'all. I'm going to give you write it down. I'm telling you, it's good. It's good. It's good. All right. Okay. So, if you are fearful to make the jump when you're getting ready to do something, this is just my opinion. I'm no aficionado, but I say, look before you leap, right? Know what you're getting into, but like you said, just do it, but do it well. Whatever you do, don't half-ass it. Sorry to curse. But don't cut corners. Don't do it just a little bit. Don't do it just kinda. Either do it or don't, right? So you have to do it all the way. You have to do the research. You have to know what your, market research, whether that's, checking what's going on in, what your competitors are doing. You have to do it all the way. That is the biggest thing I can tell you, because people are like, oh, I want to start, like for instance, I'm starting a boutique. Yeah, starting a new
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. So I'm starting another business, but it took me a while, and the fear is there, right? Because just because you like clothes doesn't mean that you can open up a boutique. That doesn't mean that, right? So, but I had to go and do a lot of research, and I had to do a lot of things behind the scenes. But you have to do the work. You can't just wake up and say that's what you're going to do. So that's what I'm saying. You have to do the work, y'all, and do it all the way, and don't cut corners. There's always going to be an easier way to do it. There's always going to be a side street that you can take. Don't take the side streets, y'all. Go ahead and do it the right way. There's processes in place for a reason. Follow the process, follow the rules. Don't try to, oh, well, I know somebody that can get that done for me, or I don't have to do that. We can actually just paint over that, or we can, I can do this, and I can just sell these on the side. I don't have to get a license for that. I'm just going to do everything by the book, because your business will reflect how you do things in the background, right? So if you have a shaky foundation and you haven't done things the right way, you're building on a foundation that is not strong, it's not sturdy, and it will crumble. So you got to do the work. But then once you do the work the right way, it's so sweet on the other side. So
yeah, I love that. So let's see. So there's a reason for fear, right? Typically something has happened in our lives, somebody that we've seen or somebody that we know, something has happened, and there's like something like this may happen, right? So like, fear is a natural emotion that we're going to experience. But allow the fear to fuel you, right? Like, allow yourself to lean into that fear. Fear gives us the opportunity to recommit to our goals, right? Like, we can say, okay, I know that in the past, this may have happened when I tried this, but I wasn't the person I am now. I was not as knowledgeable as I am now. I wasn't as equipped as I am now. So because of that, what you may have learned then is not going to be your experience now. Who you were yesterday is not who you are today. And so I've been saying it, do it scared. But when we talk about fear and we think about fear, look at fear as somebody who's here just to say, hey, girl, something happened last time, and you're gonna be like, yeah, I know, but last time I ain't had this, and this. Now I got this. Now we going. Like, use fear to push you forward. Because if we allow fear to hold us back, it's not giving us the opportunity to build that muscle. Confidence comes with self-trust. The reason why we lose confidence is because we have lost self-trust. We have broken the relationship with ourselves, may it be of how we speak to ourselves, what we've told ourselves, and the things that we think we cannot overcome. Or we're breaking promises to ourselves. Because let's be real, like if you say you're going to do something and then you don't do it, you in your body start to feel like, okay, I'm not going to be able to do something. So self confidence really stems from your ability to continue to keep your promises to yourself and that self trust. Allow that self trust to guide you. And when fear shows up, bet on yourself because that fear is literally telling you, like, hey, girl, remember that? And you're like, yeah, I remember. We're going to do it anyway.
Thank you. Wonderful responses. And I'll just add to that really quick with because hearing those same words, do it scared, and Aisha mentioned something also very important when she was up here. It was just you don't have to have everything to get started. And I remember starting Bosses of the Valley, and I met Tyler while I was looking for a videographer because I knew that I wanted to. If I was going to put myself out there, I wanted my quality to be amazing. So you guys wouldn't focus on my flaws. And so when I found Tyler, I'll be honest. You don't know this, but Rosa was my first interview. So she said yes to me. And again, as I mentioned earlier, when I started Bosses of the Valley, and I had this vision to put us all in the same roof so we can learn from each other. I did not have the platform ready. The only thing I had was the professional email. And so again, I had to sell my story through the email. And then once I got the yes, I was like, oh shoot, what do I do from here? You know, like I got to keep on figuring out. Like I don't even know what platforms to go on. And so I met with Tyler. And I remember we went to Lush Cafe and Lounge for our first interview. And I was really excited. I was really excited when I saw Rosa getting mic'd up. You know, I was like, wow, my vision's coming to light. Like she's getting mic'd up. But in the back of my head, I was going, I'm not gonna post this interview. Like, but then I said, no, now I'm wasting their time. And so I had to post it. And I was like, I'm just gonna put it out there. You know, I'm really nervous. And honestly, I have no regrets because this is a year old. It was a year since I posted the first episode on YouTube. And I'm getting ready to start back up in the new year. I'm going to get ready to start back on the season 2. But just the amount of people that have either DM'd me asking if they could be interviewed or inviting me to events that I did not even know exist in Arizona. It's like, and YouTube is my main platform. So on YouTube, and I have not been consistent because life's. But on YouTube, you know, in the time frame I posted the first episode, it was October of 2024. And by December, I think I had like 6,000 views. And so I knew I was providing something of value. And so that motivated me. And I had like 50 people watch the video and I was like, wow, I got 50 views. You know, I was feeling important. And so even though now I feel like I'm growing something that is just organic and it's a little slower, but it's very authentic. And the amount of feedback I get from people who are in my inbox and they're like, wow, I love what you're creating, inviting me to their special, you know, private events for their business launching and just the networking. It's very powerful. So I really truly believe in also putting yourself out there before you're fully ready and not having a full blueprint because I did not. And I didn't plan on having a conference, but here we are. And so I definitely believe in putting yourself out there. And thank you, Tyler, for pushing me because he was like, no, you got to do it now. You just got to go. So, so thank you. I do want to ask one other question for you all that I feel is very important, but because life gets in the way, when you have so much going on and you have to show up consistently for your brand, how do you, life is just pulling you in 100 different directions. Like, how do you stay consistent with that instead of saying, I want to quit?
That's I just quit.
It's easier.
Yeah, I had a random when I was building my Tony Does Ads brand long time ago. I won like a goal setting consulting call with this lady, and she gave me such a good piece of advice, and it was just like, we often might set goals. We want to do this every single day. And I'm such a perfectionist with stuff that I would, if I didn't do something one day, I would beat myself up about it. And I would almost just stop doing that completely. And like her advice was just like, just take a day off and do the next day. Start again the next day. And I feel like that was like such a great piece of advice that I think it's okay to take a break. I mean, you could take, I mean, I'm talking about content now, I guess. Take a day off, take a week off, take a month off, whatever. Yeah, it might not be as great for your numbers and posts, you know, afterwards. They're working on that, I know, on the Instagram side to not have it be as bad. But I don't think it's bad to, like, if you're really in a stressful state of mind and like your personal health needs work, like take a break. I think my girlfriend's seen me like go through all of it. I've also moved down to Arizona. My mom's battling like terminal cancer, so there's a lot of stress with my family that I have just with that and stuff that happens to lives, right? So I think it's fine to take a break, zoom out, like
Yes.
put your personal health first above everything. Like who cares about the numbers, the whatever. But I love that just that little piece of advice from that goal setting coach of just like don't beat yourself up if you miss one day. Just try to get back on the seat the next day.
Absolutely. I love that.
And I'm gonna take a page right out of his book. And like I said earlier, my fade to black is real. I will fade to black on everybody, including my children. I go black and I do not respond to anything. And then you have to also find something for yourself. So like when you do check out, because it's okay to check out. I check out often. So like when you say, how do you not quit? I quit often, like, you know what I mean? But you just have to get back in the game, right? So I quit, but I also make sure that there's always something for me. I always do something for me. So whether that's finding time to go to the gym or that's like, hey, I want to go have lunch with myself and I don't want to go sit down with anybody else. I'm going to go eat by myself and just not talk for like however many hours. You do those things and it kind of allows you to recalibrate. So when you want to quit, do it, right? But you're quitting on a smaller scale so that you don't quit on the big scale, right? You know what I'm saying? So that you don't get overwhelmed and you're not, just like, oh, F it, I don't want to do it. This is too much, because those moments are going to come. You're going to want to say, I'm over it. I'm done. The fires, they are going to keep raging and there's always going to be a new one. You're going to extinguish this fire and there's going to be 4 more over there and 5 more over there. So the key is just you got to get that recalibration going. You know what I mean? And then get back in there and like, hey, I got it. I pivot and I'm
Love it.
back in here.
Yes. Thank you.
No, I love a good little rest. Look a little nappy nap. So I struggle with consistency, but I also think it's because I don't show up if I don't feel like it. Like I am very intentional about if I'm going to give you guys something, that I'm going to give it to you guys because I have it to give. I don't give what I don't have. So that way I don't have to battle with that guilt. And I was also told, this is probably like 15 years ago, like whatever your priorities are, keep those your priorities. Whatever is number one is number one. Don't let number two become number one, right? Like continue to keep that into perspective, because when it's time to make hard decisions or when it's time for you to make a pivot or make a move, you're constantly in a certain level of balance and equilibrium. Again, I just operate from what I have. And I know that sometimes like when it's game time and you got to figure it out, you're going to figure it out, but you're also like, okay, I have this to give and I know what my capacity is. And if you want these spaces to continue to be safe for others, how could they not be safe for you? How could it not be a space for you to be happy and satisfied? So I just give what I can. And then when I don't have it, I'm off the mat and I have like zero guilt about that.
Yes. All right. So I am going to switch it over to for a moment over to the audience to see if there are any questions for the panelists up here. Got the mic coming to you.
Oh, well, thank you, Conley.
Thank you.
I don't have to stand up, right? Okay. So it's been wonderful listening to everyone on the panel. It's such an inspiration. So my question is, right, going back to that, pushing yourself, what is one thing, right? One thing outside of the cold plunge, right? 'Cause, I can't, I can't give that to you, right? Outside of the cold plunge. What is one thing, right, that you do on a personal level that connects to your friends or family that fuels you, right? Because oftentimes I'm an entrepreneur myself, right? And I know that I operate from a space that I need a support system. right? So, like you said, you called your best friend is in the back, right? I know that I have built a support system for Petra as well, being her brand manager, and she also outside of life, I have a 16-year-old kid, and she got three, and I'm like, girl, I need you to tap in. What do I do? Because I'm about to take him out. He about to go in the belly. What do I do? So what are some things, as far as your personal life that you do to connect with your friends and family that helps to help you fuel you as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I think for me, I have friends that are entrepreneurs, and I have a lot of my old college drinking buddies are not entrepreneurs. They barely have jobs, uh, and yeah, and yeah, I think for me, especially talking about like stress and the ebbs and flows of life, I love to call the entrepreneur friends if I'm trying to strategically figure out something. I love calling the college drinking buddies that are doing whatever with their lives and catch up with them and just see what's going on with their life. And it motivates me. I can tell I motivate them with just the success they've seen me have and the business have. And I think that really just grounds me and makes me just feel a lot different, a lot more level-headed with things. My mom lives in Maricopa, so I try to go and see her quite often too. She knows I work a lot, like I travel a lot too. I do speaking as well. So my family, a lot of my friends know I have ebbs and flows where I'm gonna probably be out of town for a month or something, and I'll come back and we'll rekindle and whatever there. So I try to have different circles, and I hit up different people for different needs. Another thing too, when I'm like it's weird, but I love doing it, is I love giving back. So sometimes when I'm in a dark headspace and in a weird place, I will try to do something just really nice. Like I'll put $100 on a Starbucks gift card and put it on my story and just say, anyone, do you see this? Use it, go get some coffee. And it just feels good. And it's just like a little quick little thing. I want to find local places that I could do that. Starbucks is easy because it's QR code, they can all steal it, whatever. Yeah, yeah. It goes quick though. It goes very quick. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah. So I think yeah, that's a huge one too, is just like what can I do that just makes me feel good? And like force myself to, it sounds so weird and selfish too though, but people love it, right? But it's like, how do I force myself to feel good maybe when I don't feel good? Again, the cold plunge is great though. It just makes you feel good afterwards, but but yeah, I think that's big for me, is just like hitting up old friends, old drinking buddies, people that I know do look up to me too, and just reconnecting with them. And I think that's huge. And then calling my mom.
Right.
Yeah.
Where's my earring? Why would I know where your earrings are? Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, so get them pens ready again. This is good. Be selfish. Be selfish. It is okay to be selfish. As an entrepreneur, you have to pour out so much when it comes to your business. Like you said, you got to deal with the public, you got to deal with your employees, you have to deal with so many things. And so sometimes it is okay to be selfish. And that goes hand in hand with that fade to black. Those go together. We go together. And I had to learn that being selfish is okay. And I'm good at it. Oh, I'm so good at it because I love me so much. Like, oh, I love spending time with me and I love to make myself feel better. And I do that by doing things for me. So if that is me going, like, I might have something that needs to be done, but I'm gonna go do Pilates first. I'm gonna go get my nails done first. I'm gonna go do all the things that make me happy first, and then I will go put out those fires. Now, of course, that can't be the case every day, right? Like I can't do that every day. But when you get into those overwhelming moments when it's like so much and you're just like, you'll find that if you just take a little bit of time, you carve out some time and you give back to you, you have more to give out. And like you said, you don't, and I love that. I'm gonna try to take a page from you. Like you can't give what you don't have. Well, I have a problem with that because on the other side of that selfishness, I tend to give what I don't have. And that's why I had to like really hone in on that selfishness, because I will find myself depleted and everybody else is good. And I'm like, hold up. Yeah, hold up. So that's where the selfishness comes in. So try that.
Yeah. Good. I love that. Nice. It is. I try to give myself what I need before I need it. So, when you're drinking water for today, like you're actually drinking to be hydrated tomorrow. Giving yourself what you need before you even need it really helps, like putting those things into practice. I do have a college kid. He's playing football, so I'm a football mom. Not realizing that, I'm like, I want to go see my baby every single weekend when I was like ready to wring his neck last year. But I do spend a lot of time with now that I have a college kid, just making sure I stay connected with him has really been helpful for me. Part of the reason why we're like running kind of lean until December is because it's football season. So, yeah, I honestly, and then I travel a lot. Like I'm always somewhere without my kids. I love that for me. I have 3 kids, so I be outside. I mean, I do bring them sometimes, but like next week I'm going to Curacao for my annual trip. I go there for a week, and I just do me. And I also have a partner. My husband is so amazing when it comes to like me giving myself what I need. Partially because I do spend a lot of time like solo parenting if he's deployed. But like when he's around, he's like, listen, take care of you first, you know? So having people around you that also recognize that you may need something before you need it, but also being proactive in that. Don't allow yourself to give yourself the things that you need once you already need it, because then you're already working reactively, which it also and doesn't have like the same negative, like the same mental, physical, spiritual effect that it would otherwise.
Ladies first. Um, shoot, that fell out. Um, before you became an entrepreneur, what self-discipline? I'm trying to figure out how to ask this question. I was trying to ask Chat GPT, but I put it in wrong. So I'm just gonna ask it the way I ask. What did you do like to self-discipline yourself before you even started your business? Like you knew you wanted your business, right? You knew what you wanted to do in your business, but what self-discipline techniques did you use before you even got started, just to know that this is what I'm going to do? I don't know how, I don't know when, but this is what I'm going to do first. If it makes sense.
Yeah, it's great. For me, really, I think, but the biggest turning point for me was like when I was at that job I hated, and then getting into marketing and advertising because I had no experience in marketing and advertising really. Um, I was just a nerd. I love still AI is huge now. I'm very curious about that. I think you should really pursue curiosity. And that for me is a huge driver. Like I'm like, oh, this looks cool. I want to dive into that. And that's what I really did early on. Like I really liked the idea because I'm the youngest child. My mom would always say I was the guy like in the department store making the most noise. I'd will run off and just be doing something crazy. And I did music back in the day, and I just love being on stages like this and this fun center of attention stuff. And so it was all like I realized a lot of the stuff I really liked. I love psychology and getting attention and videography and photos and stuff like that. So I kind of realized when I was at that job that, oh, I really think marketing and advertising might be that passion that I have. So I really just studied it like relentlessly every day. It was like I would get off my job, my 9 to 5. I would pretty much be studying like 6 to midnight. And some of it was fun. It was just like I was going on Twitter and just following people that I thought were smart about ads or marketing. And that was a huge part. And that lasted a long time. And then I just started posting about it. When the agency started, it was really my business partner and I. We would talk every single day. Like I said, I think it was 3, 4, 5 months until we got our first client. Every single day, we're like, what's working? How do we do this better? What could we do? Or what are we seeing people do? And it was really just trying to figure that out. And yeah, that was the main thing for me. It was just like being really consistent, learning, following that curiosity, and really diving in that way.
For me, I would say 2 things. I'm old school. I write everything down. Write down the things that that you want to do. Because if you write it, you'll retain it, number one, but then you can see it. And so whatever that goal is, if it's like, I'm gonna open a bookstore, or I'm gonna open a boutique. When I said I wanted to branch out and I want to do a restaurant, but now I want to do clothes. I started to write down those ideas and then the steps it would take to get there. What are the steps to that? And then now we do have a cheat code. We have Chat GPT. We're okay. Well, hey girl, what's the first step? Okay, you got to get licenses. You got to find an LLC. I mean, you do LLC. You got to do all the things, right? So write down your steps and then start to implement them. And like I said, old school, I like to mark things off my list. So you write the list down and you mark off what you've done to work towards your goal. Marking things off your list feels so good. It feels so good. Yeah, yeah. So write it down, check it off, and be like, look at me moving through that, right? And then the second thing, oh my goodness, I lost my train of thought because I gave such a long answer. It was good too. It was good. Oh, it was so good. Hold on, wait, I'm gonna get it back. It was write it down and crud muffins. I don't know. It'll come back. Yeah. What we
Yeah, we'll talk about it. So I think self-discipline. So I went to this leadership retreat, and that was actually my affirmation. I am self-disciplined because I feel like that's my biggest area of like opportunity. This is gonna be who's a morning person in here? Raise your hand. All right, there's a few of y'all. Y'all rare. I love that for y'all. Okay, so this is a good tip. Take your phone or your alarm clock, put it somewhere where you have to get up to turn it off. Thank me later. I'm a habitual snoozer. I literally hit snooze the other day and I was like, get your ass up, get up. But that really helps. Like how you start your day and the things that you consume. If we think about all the things that are gonna go wrong, we are manifesting them because those thoughts and that stuff has energy and it has power. But if we start our day with something positive and we are speaking the positive affirmations and saying, instead of like, I have to, I get to. It's like a huge thing. And starting your day with gratitude, I really think that really changes the way that we look at things. Everything could be wrong, but it's just a moment in time. And find something to be grateful for because there's only one thing going wrong and 100 things going right. So move that phone, don't hit snooze. And just remember the things that you say to yourself are super powerful. So you get to determine what the outcome is based on what you say and how you say it to yourself. So change the narrative.
So I make music, and I know you guys are in like 3 different fields, so I want to hear like for each of you in different answers. One thing that it's prominent in everything, but I want to hear like as far as even hate or like, bad review rating or whatever. As far as like agencies, I'm not too sure how, that can go, or a restaurant, how like, people may not like something, or a book as well, that, you get bad reviews, bad ratings, stuff like that. How do you not necessarily like push through that or like handle it, but in what sense do you kind of make a mental environment for you to kind of have an output for these kind of things rather than just ignoring it or pushing through it? Because I know that's obviously the easiest answer is to ignore it, block the person, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's gonna happen. It's present. Can't please everybody. So I want to ask how you guys individually for your fields kind of process that, stuff like that.
Yeah, I love that. I actually I've done 2 studio albums. I used to do music and toured and stuff, and I used to try to be a rapper. My second album was more like pop electronic because I was like, I probably shouldn't rap. I was okay, but yeah, and music is so different, I would say, too, than content creation because music's really vulnerable and you have to be delusional in your early days of music because you're probably not gonna. I'm sure you sound great, but I sounded terrible when I started, and I started going to like a real legit studio and getting coaching and whatnot there. But there's always with content and with clients and ads and stuff because if we're spending as much money as we're spending, like there's guaranteed to be negative comments, and I'll get brand owners like, what should we do? And I'm like, who cares? Like, lean into it or whatnot if you want to. There's a lot of really cool stuff you can do. I'm a big nerd on virality and the algorithms, I love and hate them. But with ads, I've learned a lot with them too. There's a lot you can do. Facebook and Instagram, they don't really care about sentiment of comments. So actually, if there's negative comments, they weigh that the same as their positive. But they do look at the length. So back in the day, people used to do like a fire emoji or a thumbs up. They started realizing people were doing that, like trying to engagement bait and help each other out with pods and stuff. They've changed it now because they really want conversations going on in comments. So if you can, if you're willing to embrace the haters, embrace those kind of comments, I do it in a certain way. If they're really negative, hide them, delete them. Yeah, don't worry, but block the person, like just get it out of don't deal with it. But if it's something like I do food stuff all the time, this is the best place or whatever, who like, no, that's trash or whatever, and then I'm like, well, what do you think is the best? So I try to leverage that because I know it's going to actually help my content get out there more. So the more I can kind of play devil's advocate with someone and just say like, oh, well, what is the best place? I had to play a video I did for a pizza place. And I just said it was new. I didn't even say it was the best. I'm big on like, I'm not a big, like, I'm going to rate places. I'm really just like, it's here, check it out. I'm really just about uplifting everybody. But there's people that kind of bash places and stuff like that too. But I just posted about a new pizza place. And this girl was like, I'm from New York. There's not one single pizza place that's good in Arizona. And I was just like, I did ChatGPT, like how many pizza places are in Arizona? There's like 1,500. And I was just like, so you've been to every single one of 1,500 pizza places? Like that would take you like 5 years. Like, what are you talking about? Like, so like embrace that. But I think music's very different. Definitely go hard on TikTok, Instagram Reels with music. I'm happy to chat more on all sorts of fun strategies you can do there. Because music is, it's like ad agencies too, that it's very saturated with TikTok and everything. There's way more artists getting on there. So there's just things that you can do there, but it is kind of in your early days, be delusional, just have that dream and that vision of where you want to go and just keep working on improving yourself, every single day. And like, you'll get there, you'll get more fans and stuff. I had some sad shows of like 5, like she was maybe one of the only person, this was me, you guys weren't here and I'm performing, like, but another mindset that I loved and a line I loved is like, there might be 5 people in the crowd, but those are 5 new fans that you could have too. So really take advantage of that and like really try to bond with the people that are there, show them love if they showed up for your show, friends and everything too. I had a lot of friends. My parents did not want me to do music, so that was a whole fun thing. But I was delusional. I got new friends. If my other friends didn't come to shows, like it's going to happen. It's just the way the world is sometimes. But just really reward those people that do show up and show up for them. When we're talking about like success and stuff too, and like your circles, like you were talking about, I really try to look at when I do get a win, the people that are closest to me, how do they react? Are they bashing me or are they pumped for me? And really pay attention to that too. And I would honestly cut out most of the people that give you crap if you're doing something good and they try to bash you for it. Like, why are you in my life? So really pay attention to that too. When you get those wins, how are people reacting in my circle, and are they reacting in the way that they should be reacting? And that's huge too.
That's good. Okay. So I remembered the other thing, my lady, right here. Yep, I got you. It is small bites. Put your tasks in small bites. Don't try to do everything in such a grand way. So if you kind of like, break it up in chunks and then do a little bit at a time, especially if you're keeping your 9 to 5 or you're trying to, because I don't recommend anybody just drop everything. Like it's a difference between being fearful and being smart. You know what I mean? So like, we still want to be cautious. So yeah, just make them bite-sized pieces. Bang them out, write them down, and be like, okay, that pod is done. Now I'm on to this one. And so if you make those bite-sized pieces, it's not so overwhelming. So yeah, got back to me. So you're welcome. All right. And now the question was, look at me. The haters. Oh my God. The haters are going to hate. All right. So yes, people hate lush. Let me tell y'all. All right. So I remember, I'm gonna tell y'all this story really, really quickly, right? I remember early on, I used to read every single review, and it's a double-edged sword because you want to read the reviews, you want to know what people are saying, good and bad, right? So I would read them all, and I would be so distraught. I would be so hurt because this is my baby. I poured everything into it. And these people would just chew me up, spit me out. Just mean, right? And I know my food is delicious. I know the environment, the ambiance is wonderful. It's just people being mean and just kind of trolling and things like this. But when things are valid, I take them personally. So there was a lady who came in, and this was in person. She brought her mom in, and her mom was in her 80s. This woman was in her 60s, and she came and told me, she was like, "Yeah, I wanted to talk to you because if you call yourself a 30 and up establishment and you're expecting us to come in here and dine with you, you don't have anything warm for my 80-year-old mom to drink. These chairs are not the most comfortable." Like, she read me to filth, read me down, and I just start crying. I was like, I don't have anything warm for her to drink, do I? Okay, so I had to take that feedback, and it was hurtful. It was hard to hear that I had gaps in something that I thought was perfect, because I thought I had covered all my bases. I have handcrafted cocktails. I got, like, every you want soda, juice, whatever you want. I have all the things, but I forgot, like, okay, what do I give? Like, if somebody wants a cup of tea, I don't have a cup of tea and I'm serving brunch. So how did I miss that? But I missed that because I didn't do all the bite-sized pieces, right? I didn't write that, you know what I mean? So it's easy to miss things. So your haters can actually help you find the gaps. Thank you, haters, right? Because you can't see everything. And so you know what I mean? So I would say, pay attention to the negativity, right? You're gonna feel it because we're human, right? So we have pride, especially when we built something and we poured our hearts into it. It's not gonna feel good. It's gonna feel like a gut punch. But what you do is you take the feedback, you fix it, and then you invite that person to come on back and have some tea. You feel me? Yeah. So now it's fixed. It's delicious. You want peach, you want chamomile, you want lavender. What do you want? We got them all. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, hater. Yeah, so read them and fix it. You know what I mean? And so that's my feedback.
Not fair. So haters are gonna hate. You know, Cat Williams said in the Pimp Chronicles, if you ain't got no haters, feel free. Nobody to hate on, feel free to hate on me. So I think that, to your point, I think that there's always a level of somebody's gonna share some insight. There is something that you can gain from it, especially when you're in a space where you have an open mind, open heart. You can't make everybody happy, and so that can't be the goal. But if there's gonna be some feedback that says, hey, there is an opportunity for me to refine or be better, we got to take the ego out of it, the pride out of it, and really move from a heart space and saying, okay, there is a place and an area for me to get better, to do this more strategically, or do this in a way that's in more alignment with more intention. And so people are going to be upset, and you're not for everybody, so you don't have to aim to do that. But when there is a piece of feedback that you're like, you know what, I never thought about that, I could use that. I think that that's important, because that's also going to help you catapult and continue to grow.
And I will just add to that really quick mentally is now I haven't dealt with it yet, but that may come. And the only thing that I will say in very simple terms is always focus on the ones who are there for you and not the ones who are not. Okay. All right. Was there any more questions? No? Good. Okay. So I'm just going to close us out. And I really just want to, first of all, thank our wonderful panelists. Thank you so much for being vulnerable, being authentic, really sharing the true grit of the questions. I think that's what's so important and makes Bosses of the Valley different, again, because you see so much polished everything out there. And just even doing the interviews, I really appreciate how vulnerable you can be and showing people that you are where you are today, but you also can relate to where they are today. So I really appreciate it. And it was such a powerful conversation. So thank you so much for your time. And then thank you so much to all my family and friends and supporters out there. I really would not have been able to have my first conference if it wasn't for everybody believing in my vision. And it's just taking me down a path that I did not plan. And I'm just going to keep rolling with it. So just want to say thank you all for coming out today and being very supportive.